Okay, so what is the effect going to be? Joe Musgrove here, he is shut down for 3 weeks, and that doesn't mean that he's going to return in 3 weeks. A minimum of 3 weeks, he's going to be out, and I would say a minimum of probably 4 or 5 weeks that he's going to be not pitching at the big league level for the Padres. He might not even return at all the rest of this season. I mean, Kevin Acee left open that possibility. AJ Preller pretty much left open that possibility of him not returning. They're not. He said they're not closing the door on him returning, meaning like they have the doors open, the possibilities there for him to not come back as well, right? So yeah, shoulder injury, and he saw Dr. Neil Elatrosh, I think that's his name. Multiple doctors, not just him, but he's like a big doctor with Tommy John and all that. It's not. We don't think it's surgery right now, like at least from the things that I've read. But yeah, concerning for sure. Joe Musgrove, it's win day. I was on John and Jim outside Petco before yesterday's game, discussing the impact of this Joe Musgrove injury, and I was talking about it. They were mentioning it too. Like when he and Snell are on the mound for these last couple months, it has been win day. These since the beginning of June, Musgrove has a sub-2 ERA. He has been tremendous for this Padres team. And he's been dealing with some injuries while pitching this well, right? The elbow thing, right? The what's it called? Bursa sac or whatever? I forget what it's called. But he's been dealing with that and still pitching well. Just finding a way to get the job done. And so it's not going to be win day when Rich Hill takes the mound on Sunday. It's just not. Padres could win, but if you look at the game logs for Rich Hill, he's someone that it's not like he's going to be guaranteed to go 6 innings every time out. You know, he's a rubber arm if you go look at his career, right? He's still pitching, at 43 or however old he is, oldest guy in Major League Baseball. He's still finding a way, but he's not Joe Musgrove, right? You can't replace Joe Musgrove's production. You just can't. And I'm glad that Joe Musgrove is a pitcher because if this was Tatis or if this was Soto, someone like that, that would be a bigger loss because obviously those guys play every day. And Musgrove mentioned that, like, my impact, I help the team out once a week. He essentially said that to the media when he was addressing this injury before the game yesterday. Like, yeah, one day a week. It's going to be up to the guys in that clubhouse, guys playing every day, the other pitchers. Like, just keep playing good baseball, and they can stay in it, right? But add up the Musgrove starts that he's going to miss. If he makes 4 or 5 starts in a month, he's going to be out the rest of this month. He already missed a start in Colorado. He was going to miss, they were penciling him in for Tuesday, and that might be Nick Martinez now. We'll see what happens there. That's 2 there. He's going to miss 5, 6, 7 maybe. He's going to miss at least 5 starts, I would say. 6 probably. And so what's the Padres record going to be in those 6 games? I am very fascinated in seeing how that's going to work. What is their record going to look like when Musgrove returns, if he returns? Because this could end up deciding the Padres' postseason hopes, right? If they make the postseason or not. They could miss the postseason by a few games, with the offense performing well because Musgrove's not available, right? Let's say Rich Hill bombs a couple starts or Nick Martinez can't be effective or whoever pitches in those outings in place of Musgrove, and the offense scores like 4 or 5 runs in a game, but starting pitching sucks so much that they still lose those games and they miss the playoffs by a couple games. We're going to be looking back and it's like, man, yeah, missing Joe Musgrove, that ended the Padres season right there because Musgrove would not have pitched that bad. Again, these are hypotheticals, like if pitchers bomb, if they do bad. But it's obviously in my mind because Rich Hill, with all due respect to him, like I think he can still put together some solid outings and keep the Padres in games, but he's not going to be the reason why the Padres won a game. Like I don't think. If the Padres score 2 runs in a game, are the Padres going to win that game with Rich Hill on the mound, right? Is Rich Hill going to only give up 1 run and the bullpen can shut it down and the Padres win that game? What if the Padres can only score 1 run? Are they going to go win that game with Rich Hill on the mound? I don't know. Probably not, right? And again, it's no disrespect to Rich Hill. It's just looking at the numbers, and it's like, yeah, Joe Musgrove can't replace the guy, especially, with the trade deadline being gone. Jim Russell asked me this, one of his questions when I was on their show yesterday, about, do you think this was kind of like a bad luck thing, or did the Padres know about this and that's why they were interested in Verlander and Giolito? And for me, I don't think the Padres knew about this. AJ was saying that yesterday talking to the media. Now, maybe you don't want to believe AJ, and okay, you don't have to believe him. But AJ is someone that star hunts anyway. So I do believe it in this case, that they were expressing interest in Giolito just to see. They were expressing interest probably in Verlander to see what Mets were wanting. They probably knew like the Mets would be willing to pay off a lot of that contract. So just checking in, and that's showing interest, right? So we don't know how interested Preller was in these guys. And I don't think this was a situation where it was like, well, they know Musgrove's out, so Rich Hill's the guy that's replacing him. That's the guy that they handpicked to go replace Joe Musgrove. They acquired Rich Hill to be a depth guy, maybe be the 5-starter if Michael Wacha comes back and he ends up getting hurt again, or if someone else in the rotation gets hurt. Well, at least you have that insurance, right? You don't have to go to, well, who the heck would they go to? Because Ryan Weathers is gone, Jackson Wolf is gone. So you don't have to go to Pedro Avila every start, right? Like, that's why they brought in Rich Hill, to be a depth guy. So yeah, I truly believe like this is just a bad luck, bad timing thing. Like, they probably thought the Musgrove thing, it wasn't that, because look at this. Because I just remembered this, like the trade deadline was Tuesday. Musgrove, he got scratched on Wednesday, I think. Or it was Tuesday night, I think, and the deadline obviously had passed. So did he get scratched before the deadline for the next day's game, or did he get scratched after the deadline? And I'm led to believe, at least we are led to believe, that Musgrove got scratched Tuesday night, which the deadline happened at 3 p.m. on Tuesday. So you couldn't make any more moves. So I think it was just a bad luck thing, because the Padres would have gotten out. I'm pretty confident they would have went out and gotten more starting pitching other than just Rich Hill if they actually knew about the Joe Musgrove injury, right? So yeah, it's crushing for sure. And yeah, you don't feel as good about the Padres reaching the postseason with Joe Musgrove being out for a month plus, because that's what it's going to end up being. 3 weeks. He shut down for 3 weeks. Again, I want to make that clear. He shut down for 3 weeks. He's not going to return after 3 weeks. He's shut down from throwing. He told the media this yesterday. This is the longest that he will go in a long time, probably in his major league career, without throwing. He always used to throw in the offseason still. He'd back off, but he'd still throw a little bit. He's not going to throw at all for 3 weeks. So he's going to take some time to build back up. And then when he comes back, is he going to go 6 innings out of the gate? Probably not. So there's more pressure on the bullpen. There's just a big effect here from one great pitcher going down. So it sucks. It definitely sucks. And you just hope that Rich Hill and Pedro Avila and Nick Martinez and whoever fills in can keep the Padres in every game that they start. Because the Padres, they need the wins for sure. They need the wins. And you just hope that some of the wild card teams, like I said on the radio yesterday, you hope that some of the wild card teams will continue to come back to the Padres, and the Padres don't have to go sweep a bunch of series. And, Rich Hill and Nick Martinez and whoever starts, they're going to, like, those games are going to be must-win games, right? Because hopefully they won the first 2 games of a series, or they win the other 2 games of a 3-game set, So again, we'll see how this works out. But yeah, that injury definitely sucked